This is the projectile launcher right here. And you can rotate it, assuming I loosen up the nuts in the back. So this can be rotated to get different angles, and so that's where we get the measure of the angle right there. There we go. And so it's roughly a 35-degree angle. We'll get more precise than that throughout the lab. I have it anchored to the table right here so that it doesn't shift as we start. It's especially a problem when I put the ball into here and do the ramrod, that I'm pushing on this, and so potentially the base is going to shift or the table will shift. And so we just need to be wary of that. This is the ball that we're going to shoot, and the way it is loaded is you put the ball in here and then you use the ramrod. So that was the first click, and if you notice right there on the side we have this yellow piece right here that associated with the short range. The second click, that's the medium range, and you can see it right there, it's yellow. And then long range, and that's long range. Give you an idea how far long range will shoot at this angle. All right, so as I just put the ball into it, the angle changed. That's something else I need to worry about. All right, so I'm going to pull on it, and hopefully you'll see where this thing goes. Third time is going to be the charm. Drop the angle down just a little bit. The angle is dropped, and so hopefully it's somewhere around 20-degree angle. And let's see if we can see where the ball goes. It is pushed in for long range. There we go. I saw the ball that time. Give you some idea of the range, and so that is from near the front of the room to the back of the room at a jaunty tilt. I guess you haven't seen the classroom. Let's see if we can get a measurement there. So it hit the back wall more than 6 meters away. Give you some idea of the range of the long one. So the first thing we need to do is figure out the muzzle velocity. So we'll put this at a 0-degree angle. Not quite there yet, but I'm going to get it set up. And then we're going to shoot it horizontally, and when it shoots horizontally, it will hit the ground at the same time as if I drop something at the exact same time. And so we'll be able to calculate the time it takes to fall if we know the height. So if we know the distance from the ground to here, and this is basically where the ball is when the plunger stops pushing it inside. And so basically we're going to measure to the bottom of the ball here to the ground to find the height. So from that we can calculate the amount of time it takes for it to fall. And then we will see how far it goes out horizontally. And once we know how far it goes out horizontally and the time it takes to fall, we can calculate the muzzle velocity. All right, so I have it set on 0 degrees right now, and now I'm going to tighten it up and double check, make sure it's still on 0 degrees. And that's probably as close as I'm going to get there. It looks relatively horizontal. And so now we need to get it set in and get some sense about where it's going to hit the ground, and then we'll be ready to start doing measuring. So this is a test shot, being shot horizontally just to see where it hits, lands on the ground. And obviously I need to move that table out of the way. So we'll move that and try again. So one thing to keep in mind is that how you pull this makes a difference. That this is the trigger that gets the ball to shoot. So from a side angle, this is the trigger. And so how I pull it makes a difference. If I pull it quickly or pull it slowly, I'll get different distances. Pulling it quickly gets a farther distance than pulling it slowly. So now, let's see if we can get a sense of where it's going to land. All right, so we have a sense now, and so now we need to get the aluminum foil. So I have aluminum foil taped down on the ground over there. I don't need much if I'm shooting right, but I didn't tape it down particularly well this time because I need to make sure that that's general area. Once I've acquired the correct distance, then I will tape it down better. And here I need to make sure that it's back on 0 degrees again. And that's looking like as good as I'm going to get. So now I'm firing a test shot, a second test shot, and just barely hitting the upper left corner. So now I think I can pretty much move it into the right place. So now I have the aluminum foil taped down, and we will do several shots. There's also a backstop there now so that when the ball hits it, it will not fly off, or at least it'll be easier to retrieve. Okay, so now it's time to do measurements. We want the distance to the bottom of that circle, so let's move that over. The meter stick hopefully is set upright. And so you should be able to pull it down to the nearest millimeter. That is at the 90-something millimeters. And so the bottom of the white circle is where the ball is. Sort of move it like this. I know parallax is a huge issue here, but that's part of why we're going to get some range. All right, I think that's probably enough for that distance. So now this shot. One other note here is I put masking tape on the ground right in front of the table leg so that if the table shifts, I should be able to put the table back at least close enough. Take a look right there. It's on the long setting. Smack dab. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a marker and I'm going to make sure I put a black dot there. Now it's not necessarily easy to see where it is because this is a used piece, but we're looking for the indentation. And yeah, definitely not easily seen through the camera. But that right there was from the previous trial. That was from our test shot, and I moved it since then, so definitely not that one. And there it is. There's the indentation right there. Let's see. I don't know if you can get a perspective where it, yeah, that probably looks as close to the indentation. This is not. This is from an indentation on the other side. This originally used, flipped over. So that was trial 1. Trial 2, we set this up. Let's see if that works a little bit better for the bottom of the ball. I want to make that meter stick as straight as possible. You should be able to pull information from there. There is parallax involved, so do your best to estimate exactly what is even with it. Table legs are still in the same spot. Put the ball in and do a second shot, making sure I'm on 0 degrees. Shot 2. Let me go make the mark. That shot was practically in the exact same spot as the first one, but it was a little bit off, which is fortunate. Make sure it's on 0 degrees. And some parallax is involved here, so let's give you a range at least. Pick the one that you feel best describes it. Set up for shot number 3. All right, table legs have not moved appreciably. Test 3. That looks like very similar to spot. So let's go now make the mark. Shot number 4. And again, we've got some parallax going on here because I can't get it straight up with it, but that should get you some idea. And you want it to the bottom of that white circle to that spot right there. Let's set up for shot number 4. Table legs still in same place. Adjust that slightly to make sure that I'm still in 0 degrees. And so here's shot number 4. So this will end up being shot number 5 here. All right, that's even with the top of it, so somewhere around there. Shot number 5. Set up for shot number 6. Ready to go, but let's get the vertical measurement. We'll do another one from this angle right here. To bottom of ball, or the bottom of that white circle there. There we go. I think you pull some bit of information from that. Let's see if I move that over there just a little bit. It's probably enough. It's on 0 degrees again. And launch it. Table legs still looking like they are in place. So this should be number 7. And again, there's some parallax going on there. Well, that's too high right there because I shouldn't be able to see the top of the meter stick. Let's get it cocked and then make sure it's on 0 degrees. 0 degrees. Trial 8. Let's make sure that the meter stick is vertical. And we got some range right there. Obviously that's too high. That's too low. I shouldn't be able to see the bottom of the launcher there. So somewhere around there. All right, angle should be on 0 degrees. And now let's launch. This will be shot number 9. I give you some idea where that is. Again, this is it's almost a full meter, but it's not quite. 97 something. It is cocked. Still looking on 0 degrees. Shot number 9. Make sure table legs are still in the same spot. This will be the last shot for procedure A. All right, put it on 0 degrees. And now let's measure that last height. Give you some idea of where that bottom of the ball is. Yeah, do the best you can. It's cocked on the long position. If I had accidentally not put it into the long range, it wouldn't have hit the aluminum foil. And that should be the 10th shot. I'll need to figure out the spot just below this right there onto the ground. And so I'm going to fashion a plumb bob. So I've created a plumb bob, just a mass on the end of a string. I want to make sure that the string is even with, well, let's get it to stop swaying. I want that to be even with that. I'm lowering it gently and then up just a little bit. Okay, it's still even up here. And so that marks the spot. So I'm going to get a piece of masking tape. I have masking tape right here. The ball is going to be sort of right over the edge of the table right here. And so I actually want a mark on the other side of the plumb bob. That line is in the middle of the plumb bob. I moved this so that this is as close to directly under the edge of the table here. And that is from where we're going to measure our distances. So we now need to pull out the 5-meter tape here. So I have the end right there at the black mark, and I'm going to try to secure it. And now we come over to this end. We're going to have to straighten out the measuring tape here. We have it very dark right now. Because this thing's about to die. All right, I think we have enough in order to get measurements here. So there's 1 shot. So sort of go to the middle. Okay, first one. Next one. Next one. Next. So there's one there, one there, one there, one there. I don't think we did that one. Note that angle. And part of what to look for is that somewhere between 36 and 38, is it closer to 36 or 38? And now, if it's evenly between 36 and 38, then it's 37 even. But other than that, to me, it looks like it's slightly closer to 38 than it is to 36. But that could be a parallax there. So you're just going to have to judge the parallax as best you can. So at one extreme, at the another extreme. So let's see, the camera is there. So I want the camera lined up dead on. I think that camera is lined up dead on there. All right. To the bottom of that white circle. And again, want to line the camera up. Should be able to estimate that well enough. First, let's just see where it's going to land, and then we'll adjust the aluminum foil. All right, so we definitely have a spot there, and I'm going to go set that up now. Hopefully it is set up well. And so again, trying to line the camera up with the string. Oop. Let's get the string to stop bobbing. Okay, line the camera up with the string. And you have an angle there. Don't forget to estimate to the nearest 1/10 of a degree. And to the bottom of that white circle there. Get the camera lined up. There we go. Nice clean mark down there. So let's go ahead and I'm going to mark it. Shot number 2. All right, so while we're waiting for that to calm down. Line the camera up, and there you go. The nearest 1/10 of a millimeter, 100th of a centimeter. And the angle. Again, line the camera up. It's approximately what it was before, but looks like it's leaning towards the other edge, other side. But you know, that's part of the uncertainty in this. Let's give it a shot. Okay, vertical height. Angle. And I took the shot. I just wasn't recording at that moment, so I'm going to keep the shot. Just you won't see me pull the trigger. But there's the angle. So we'll get that lined up. All right. There's the angle. So here's shot number 4. And I'm going to go mark it. All right, and the angle. And let's fire away. This is shot number 6. And the angle. And the shot. All right, so here's shot number 7. The angle. Ball's already set. Shot number 8. And the angle. And the shot. All right, shot number 9. Get the camera lined up. Yeah, shouldn't see the edge at all. Go somewhere on there. The angle. And shot number 9. One. And again, that's 90 something, between 97 and 98 centimeters, or 970, 980 millimeters, or 0.97 and 0.98 meters. And the angle. And shot number 10, then we start doing length measurements. All right, so now we have to figure out the spot just below here. See how well I can do this. All right, so I basically have it set up right there. The plumb bob sitting down below. It's not touching the clamp, or barely skirting by the table. The table's not going to be enough to really mess it up too much. And I'm just slowly letting some slack out at the top till the bob touches the bottom. Made sure the string was on the center spot, and then slowly, very slowly lowered it till it's on the ground. And so the middle of that should be right in line with the middle of this. And that's what I'm going to mark. All right, so first thing I did, I surrounded it so that the tape is on the edge the inner side of the tape is on the edge with the mask. Now I'm going to remove the mask, and the center of that square should be basically right below the center of that white dot on the projectile launcher. My marker. So X marks the spot. Now we have to stretch that thing out. So let me get the meter sticks and measuring tapes lined up. So I have this end of the measuring tape on the X, the middle of the X, and then I've taped that down so that doesn't get adjusted. Now, is this necessarily in a straight line? It's going to be close to a straight line. I did one semester, had people measure, perpendicular distances and do Pythagorean theorem, and it really made so little difference that this should be good enough. So now notice the measuring tape is only 5 meters long, so I need to make a mark where the 5 meter is. So that's 5 meters, 500 centimeters. All right, so if you go over that, this edge of the tape here is 5 meters, and then we just need a second measuring tape. Or I could use the same one since I just marked off the 5 meter mark. I used the same measuring tape, just moved it. So I've got this end on the 5 meter mark, and then that is stretched over there. And I think that should do it. All right, so remember it's 5 meters or 500 centimeters plus this. So that would be 8.7 meters, 9 meters. Okay, that's shot number 1. Shot number 2. Shot number 3. Shot number 4. Shot number 5. Shot number 6. Shot number 7. Shot number 8. Shot number 9. Shot number 10.